Hi everybody, I'm Daniel Walthers coming to you from Winding Woods Ranch. I'm here with Matthew and Trooper. And Trooper is a hybrid. He's a Catalina macaw, which is a scarlet and a blue and gold cross. And this is Sara and Bill's baby. And we're going to go over some hand feeding and kind of give you a look at how he hand feeds and instruct you a little bit as far as how to do it. I want to start out by showing you the type of formula we use. We use this Embrace Plus from Supreme. I think it's a great formula. The babies seem to do really well on it. And it's got a lot of good things in it. It's got lactobacillus, which also helps digestion. And there is another product that I use along with the formula that I want to point out. And that's called Bird Bend Back Gel. Just like this. Comes in a tube. And you can also use a pill form of kind of the same thing. It's a multi-enzyme probiotic. And the reason I use it is when I raise these babies, I like to try to get as much good bacteria in the baby as possible. That way we don't get the bad bacteria and they thrive. They digest the food well. And all you do as far as using this is you use it on, like if a baby is just born, use it on day 1, day 3, day 5, and day 7. And it's just half a gram. There's 30 grams in this tube, so it lasts quite a while. And it's very inexpensive, and I think it's just good insurance. And then once you do it, a loading dose, which is the day 1, 3, 5, and 7, then you do it once a week and to maintain it. And I think it's just a great thing to do. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. We're going to go ahead and hand feed. I've got some hand feeding formula here. And basically what I'll do is I'll turn the faucet on and get it to at least 110 degrees. And by getting it at least 110, you can kill the bacteria that's in the formula if there is any. And then when it cools down, you'll feed it. So let me go ahead and mix it up. I want you to kind of see how loose I mix it, or I recommend you mix it in the beginning. As you get used to hand feeding, you can make it a little thicker. There's also directions on the back of the bag, what they recommend as far as how thick to mix it. Go ahead and just put a little water in here. Once you use the formula and it cools down, and if you don't finish your hand feeding, don't ever warm up the formula. You want to throw it away and make a new batch. Don't ever save it. Once I mix it, it'll actually get a little thicker. And what you don't want to do is mix it and feed right away. Because what can happen is the formula can get thicker in the crop. And if that happens, it'll take the moisture from the bird. So you want to make sure, see it's getting a little thicker? And I'm going to put a little more water in it. I want it thinner than that. I recommend you guys feed it a little thin in the beginning, and like I said, and then slowly make it thicker. Now if I were using the gel, which is the good bacteria, you can take this tube and literally put it in his mouth, and I'm going to actually do it because it's that time to do it, and just put it in his mouth, and he thinks I just hand fed him, but I put a little bit in his mouth, or you can add it to the formula. When we get ready to feed him, you can see how I actually grabbed him right here. He'll start bobbing and going up and down and giving me a feeding response. Now if he doesn't, if you go ahead and put a little bit of formula in his mouth, he'll start bobbing. I recommend you only feed him when he's bobbing. If he's not bobbing, you can have a chance of something going wrong. Let me go ahead and pull some up. If your hand is small, I recommend you only pull up 30 or 40 cc's, then feed. But we really want to have at least 60 per feeding if you can. I'm going to get the air out of there and I'll pull up some more. I'm going to pull up just 30. And we're going to hold it on the right side facing the left side, our left side, or his right side. The reason we want it facing this way is because there's a tube that goes down here to his crop. You don't want to go to the other side. That's where his lungs would be and he would suffocate. If he were to choke or sneeze or do anything that's not normal, just stop feeding and skip the feeding and then feed him next time, which would be 4 hours later basically. Because these guys get so worked up that something's going to go wrong if he's worked up, if he's got a little bit in his lungs, just let him clear it. He may sneeze or try to get rid of it, and let him do that, and then go ahead and feed him at the next feeding. I'm going to go ahead and touch him, and you'll see he'll bob up and down pretty violently sometimes. And you want to kind of move with him and get used to it. You don't want to restrict him too much. Go right to left, and then slowly, as he's bobbing, you put it in. Now see how messy that was? That's probably what's going to happen the first time you feed. He kind of spit it out and it went everywhere. And all you want to do is clean it up. Keep him nice and clean. And then go ahead and try it again. Now my formula has cooled down a little bit, and when it gets cool, they won't give you as good a feeding response. I'm going to see if he'll start bobbing again. And really, if it takes a little while and it's slow, there we go. That's even better, because that way you're spending more time with him. And normally it's not this messy. Normally I can just hand feed him and it goes very quickly. We're going to see if he'll, like I say, sometimes you put a little in their mouth and they taste it. And then go ahead and give them the rest. There we go. So that's how you're going to hand feed him. You want to be careful after you hand feed him and make sure that you don't touch this area too much, because he will bring it back up. And we don't want him to bring that hand feeding back up and choke on it. So I recommend after you feed him, just kind of let him relax, kind of do his own thing, and everything should go great. Also, when you do the formula and you're getting ready to feed, I would recommend you check it on your wrist, just like you would a baby bottle. And put it on your wrist, and that way you'll know if it's too hot or too cold. And I think that's the best way to do it. So there's Trooper, and in 2 days he's going to come see you, Sara and Bill. He's a beautiful bird, very friendly, and I think you're going to do just a wonderful job with him. There we go. You can see these pretty colors under here. There you go. Oh boy. Thanks for watching.